That's correct.
All right. We will agree to disagree then because you don't look like you. 72. And that is to the BMI of
Relief. Knees, ankle, feet, lungs, everything.
It just hurts. It feels like my intestines are about to bust.
You both are ready. My only concern is some of your test results from your last week. You're ready to wake up and get your life together.
I'm ready to do what I need to get healthy, Dr. Now.
I might care tomorrow, I may not.
Okay, so what puts you in a place where you're not?
Food.
I mean, she's always on my case about the eating habit, but I just to avoid argument.
The one gone wrong. Brandy and Candy Dreera were twins who had been struggling with severe obesity for most of their lives. Tired of being overweight and wanting to accomplish something with their lives, they decided to seek out the help of Dr. Younan Nowzaradan on the popular reality show My 600 Pound Life. Their journey began with a trip to Houston, Texas, where they met with Dr. Nowzaradan to discuss the steps they needed to take to better their lives.
Pound and Brandy. You're 587 pounds. Candy and Brandy have created their own world where they can hide and go to food together. To put you on a 1,200 calorie a day diet. Concern is that their heart may not be strong enough to survive the procedure. A little bit abnormal. Your heart is not pumping adequately.
Brandy weighed in at 588 pounds, while Candy weighed in at a staggering 604 pounds. Dr. Nowzaradan recommended gastric bypass surgery to help them lose weight and improve their health. However, during Candy's surgery, complications arose. The doctor had to pull her out of surgery and place her in a recovery room to closely monitor her. Unfortunately, her condition worsened and she suffered a heart attack. A code blue alert sounded throughout the entire hospital, and Candy was rushed to the ICU. Nurses reported that her blood pressure had dropped and she turned blue. Doctors informed the family that Candy had stopped breathing and that if she did survive, there was a possibility that she would have brain damage. They placed her in a medically induced coma and on ventilation to help her breathe. The cause of Candy's health complication was a pulmonary embolism, a potentially life-threatening condition that occurs when a blood clot travels to the lungs.
It's gonna be fine, but you never know.
She did some walking, she stopped breathing, and her heart stopped.
The doctors worked hard to save Candy's life, but the situation was critical. Despite the odds, Candy made a complete recovery without any brain damage. It was a miracle that she survived, considering the severity of her condition. The doctors praised her resilience and determination to fight for her life. The experience was a wake-up call for both sisters, and they worked hard to make lifestyle changes to improve their health. They followed Dr. Nowzaradan's guidance and maintained a healthy diet and exercise regime. Henry Foote tragedy. Henry Foote's story is one that will stay with you long after you hear it. A man who weighed over 750 pounds decided to take control of his life and undergo gastric bypass surgery, one of the most watched episodes of the show. But what happened next was a shocking and heartbreaking turn of events that no one could have predicted. Henry's surgery didn't go as planned.
Lose this weight. It's too heavy on me right now. But my knees and my legs tell me you can't do no more. You got too much weight.
If you need some help, you call me, okay?
What's that unknown fact? I was hoping that he would be well enough to see what I would look like.
Complications arose and he suffered from blood clots, infection, and kidney failure. Despite undergoing several additional surgeries to address the issues, his health continued to deteriorate rapidly. Henry was placed on life support and his fate hung in the balance. It was a race against time as the medical team worked tirelessly to save Henry's life. The tension was palpable and the stakes were high. Everyone was praying for a miracle, but as the days passed, it became clear that Henry's situation was dire. As the situation worsened, Henry's family was beside themselves with worry and fear.
You're waking up. Listen.
Recovery room, and after a while, we're going to send you to ICU. How are you feeling? All right, Henry, let's get you up and walking.
Ready? Wait a minute. You ready?
Henry's doing much better than he did before operation.
I'm doing pretty good. Phil, hold on.
They watched helplessly as their loved one fought for his life. It was a heartbreaking scene that played out in real time, and viewers couldn't help but feel the emotional weight of the situation. Despite the best efforts of the medical team, Henry's condition continued to decline. It was a devastating blow, and in May of 2013, just a few months after the show aired, Henry passed away. Gino and Nico. Gino DeCunto is 36 years old, and beyond knowing that he's morbidly obese, his exact weight is unknown. He's living his life in New Haven, Connecticut, with his mum Rhonda providing him company. Obesity runs in Gino's family, and he's taking the same route many in his family took before him. Gino's obsession with food is a family tradition. Every boisterous family event is accompanied by bushelsfuls of food. Big and hearty all the way is their trademark, and Gino is merely following in the footsteps of his elders. Food is the only way of life Gino has ever known, and he's accompanied in his love affair with it by his childhood companion and cousin Nico. Both friends pay homage to the food gods every chance they get, and a little thing like health is not about to stand in their way. It was when Gino's parents divorced that his eating habits completely spiraled out of control, and cute and chubby turned into a mountain of concern. The halt of a burgeoning career coupled with the unexpected passing of his father sent Gino careening into a downward spiral, accompanied with a serious weight gain until he hit rock bottom, and this is where we're seeing him now. Gino's family is full of people who've gone down the path of gastric bypass surgery, and he's reached the point in his life where it seems like the only light at the end of his tunnel. His journey to Dr. Now's clinic all the way to Houston, Texas has been a harrowing and painful one, giving him all the more reasons to get the help on offer. And it seems that he's finally come to the right place as the scale is showing him at a whopping 684 pounds.
Really take care of myself, and because I'm pretty unhealthy at this moment.
Well, I agree with that.
And I've tried the most recent one. I was eating in small amounts of food, and I paid money for it too, which is crazy. But
the human body is not made in one day. The question is, what are you willing to do to save your life?
Pretty much.
We have the dynamic at home that has to change. So we all got to make the changes, right?
Absolutely.
Dr. Now Zaradan proceeds to give a good dressing down to the enablers and indulgers accompanying him to his appointment. It's 2 months down the road, and Nico as well as Gino have been making a combined effort for weight loss. And Gino has been able to make a lot of progress, with the loss of 55 pounds on the weighing scale. So it's on to the next step, and Gino has finally decided to cut the contentious umbilical cord he's always shared with his mother. He's moving on with his life and shifting to Houston, Texas to aid him in his weight loss journey, and Nico has decided to stay by his side. Gino's next appointment with Dr. Now has given him a mixed bag of good news. He's not been able to lose according to Dr. Now's instructions, but a 75-pound weight loss is still better than nothing.
For you to move to Houston. And if you do that and you keep losing more weight during that, then hard for a month, you can slack off and stop making progress.
Of course.
And this is not the 1 month, at least 50 to 60 pounds a month. So that's your goal. So keep working at it. Houston is going to move with you.
Yes, so right now the plan is to have my mom move down with me.
How we doing with your eating habit?
Excellent. And just trying to keep staying healthy together.
Stay with it. In the meantime, if y'all need anything, let me know.
Okay.
Gino and Nico have been supporting each other, and both are making positive changes.
Seems like it's good enough for Dr. Now, and he's approved Nico for weight loss surgery. There's more good news coming up ahead, as Nico's been able to lose a total of 38 pounds, which is quite near his goal, before he'll be cleared for weight loss surgery as well. Entreon Shannon. 36-year-old Entreon Shannon lives in Plano, Texas, and he has no idea how much he weighs, since the local clinic is unable to weigh him. He's dealing with the effects of his overeating ways and has paid dearly for his unhealthy relationship with food by paying for it with his mobility. Entreon had a pretty happy childhood, considering that he was brought up in a single-parent arrangement. As a child, he'd been well loved by a mother who tried to do her best to provide for her children. Food had always been a big comfort and a source of entertainment in his food-loving family, and his obsession with food was a natural progression and became an acquired habit. Entreon has definitely confined himself into a corner he's struggling to get out of. He has become acutely aware of all that he's been unable to achieve in his life, but perhaps the thing keeping him awake at night is his failure to fulfill the dreams of his partner who's still standing by his side. His desperation for change has landed him at Dr. Now's clinic, who's wasting no time in telling him how it is. It seems Autryon has to bring more than just words to the table, and Dr. Now has set him a stringent goal to prove to him that he means business. It's good news and happiness all round, as Autryon seems to be sticking to the directions given to him by Dr. Now, with the loving support and help of his wife Nuessa.
To try to get help on losing weight, I'm having to.
Issue with your eating habit.
Is not the best. Pretty much we're going to I should see results.
Let me ask you this. What is your goal right now in your life?
The combined efforts have gifted Autryon with a 19-pound weight loss, but it's been met with anything but ecstasy by Dr. Now. His loss is not good enough or far enough, and Dr. Now has dispatched this hopeful contender back home with strict instructions to try harder. Trying hard he is, and the latest success he's achieved is by getting his minister's license, which has lighted a low fire under him and given him a new zest for life. Autryon's weight loss has been anything but promising, and Dr. Now has sent him to his colleague, Dr. Paradise, for some psychotherapy to show him the light at the end of the tunnel.
I am a licensed minister.
Is that what you want to do for a job?
There's been a struggle.
Okay.
300 pounds.
What happened after that?
So there was just a lot of deaths. That if I can figure out how to departmentalize these things and then deal with the issue.
Nuessa is an absolute pillar of support in every facet of Autryon's recovery, but the next visit to Dr. Now Zaradan's clinic has brought him bad news on the weighing scale, as it's showing him 15 pounds heavier instead of lighter, as compared to his last visit.
It's like that includes psychotherapy too. Did you learn anything from starting therapy?
That I have and to process it, and from our discussion that me and him had, that it was kind of my emotional.
To change your life, and you keep gaining. I don't have any objection for you to.
It seems Dr. Now Zaradan's work is done here, and he advises Autryon to continue with his counseling sessions so that he can find his way back to life. When he's ready to start living once again, Dr. Now Zaradan will be right here, waiting for him to take him down the path to success and recovery. Lost in the maze. Koliesa's life had been a constant battle with her weight, and she'd reached a point where her health was severely compromised. Desperate for a solution, she turned to Dr. Now Zaradan, the renowned bariatric surgeon who had helped countless others shed their excess weight. But Koliesa's surgery was not without its complications. She was dangerously overweight, and her medical history was littered with conditions that made the procedure more risky.
I haven't been feeling well a couple of days, to be honest. I've been trying to make the best of it, but it's gotten really bad, like in the last about 3 days. But off and on.
And where is the stomach pain? Which area? Need to get you to emergency room and let's check some stuff out and make sure it's okay.
Okay.
It's about to start deteriorating rapidly and get to a point here soon.
As she lay on the operating table, her heart pounding with fear, she knew that this was her last chance at a healthy life. The surgery was grueling, and Koliesa's body fought every step of the way. Her liver was enlarged, making it difficult for the surgical team to access her stomach. And as they worked to remove a large portion of her stomach, they found themselves battling against her body's stubborn resistance. But even after the surgery was over, Koliesa's ordeal was far from finished. She struggled to breathe and was rushed back to the hospital, where doctors discovered internal bleeding. As they fought to stem the flow, they found themselves battling against time, knowing that every second counted. Despite their best efforts, Koliesa's condition continued to deteriorate. She was diagnosed with sepsis, a deadly infection that threatened to overwhelm her body.
Right there with the ball.
In here?
Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
And it's like real bad in my lower back.
Okay.
Like on this side. When you push right here, it hurt right there.
And as doctors worked to save her life, she lay on the edge of consciousness, fighting for every breath. In the end, the battle was too much for Colliessa's body to bear. She suffered a heart attack and passed away, leaving behind a family shattered by grief and a world that had lost a bright light. But even in her final moments, Colliessa's courage and determination shone through, a testament to the incredible strength of the human spirit. Ryan Barkdoll. Ryan Barkdoll carries a whopping 740 pounds on his frame. His life is carrying on in Columbia Falls, Montana, but at just 31 years old, he's decided to give up on life and let it pass him by. His whole world has been confined to the couch he spends his entire day sitting on perhaps, but the most disturbing sight is that of him taking a sponge bath sitting on his throne. Leroy and his mum are his dedicated caregivers, waiting on him hand and foot as he languishes on his sofa. It's a sad sight indeed. So much potential, flushing down the drain, as Ryan tries to fight his memories and lost dreams through binge eating. Ryan's childhood memories are marred by the emotional abuse and neglect he suffered from at the hands of his father. He started looking for approval and happiness from food, since he never got it from his own father. Then, when he shifted to live with his grandparents, was the only time when he found love and approval from any father figure, and his food dependency was curtailed. But then he found out that the man he had considered his father was not even his father, and his biological father had passed away quite a few years ago. At this point, his obsession with food re-emerged with a vengeance, when he learned that the grandfather he considered his own father was dying due to a disease intent on stealing his last breaths from him. His granddad's passing meant that Ryan ended up back under the same roof as his stepfather Jeff, and from that point onwards he spiraled completely out of control, falling victim to multiple addictions. Going off for job training as a welder got him unhooked and put him in control of his life, but unemployment finally forced him back to the one place he did not want to end up in. Cooped up under the same roof as his father, the only way he could deal with his inability to leave that house of horrors was by forgetting through getting high.
Back under control by myself.
So how long you been in Montana?
5 years.
So what brought
Dark path, and I had the opportunity to move over here with one of my friends that did live here at the time, but didn't make the bad life decisions that my friends at the time were making, and came here.
So you moved to Montana for that?
I wouldn't say it like that.
However you say it, that's what you're telling me. Seriously.
And
I heard that a lot of times, but that's not the issue. The issue is whether...
In light of the distance between Ryan's residence and Dr. Nalzaradan's clinic, the consulting has to be online. Regardless of the fact the clinic is unable to weigh Ryan, Dr. Nalzaradan has given him his goal of weight loss before he's cleared for weight loss surgery. Ryan is trying to make an effort and spends the entire weeks following a strict diet, but he believes staunchly in indulging his fast food fantasies by treating himself to a cheat day every week. Getting caught out on abandoning his diet by Mum Tammy and Leroy is not a pleasant experience, and is back to his diet plans once again. Ryan has made some changes to his daily routine by picking up on more daily chores in an effort to get in some activity into his day. A few months down the lane, and Dr. Nalzaradan is extremely disappointed with Ryan's failures to show up for his appointment a month ago, and he's been avoiding Dr. Nal's calls and forcing him to finally approach Leroy to get him in touch with Ryan.
You're still over the weight limit of the scale.
I know I made it to your goal, Dr. Nal. I worked hard.
You found the limit for the scale to be able to get your weight. So whatever progress you made, it was so you can make the trip to Houston. So let's go ahead and see if you can. Still, we're going to set an appointment for you for 2 months, and you need to lose another 60 pounds to get under 60. That's going to be a lot of weight for you to lose by then.
I understand, Dr. Nal, and I'm going to do it.
All right.
Ryan seems to have one excuse after another for failing to stick to his diet routine and his failure to comply with Dr. Nal's plan. His failure to show up for his Skype appointments is the straw which broke the camel's back. Hope and despair. Julian Valentine's story on My 600 Pound Life was a rollercoaster ride of hope and despair. He was a man on the brink, struggling with obesity and its associated health problems. He knew he needed to make a change, and he turned to gastric bypass surgery as a solution. But what happened next was a shocking and devastating turn of events that left his family and the nation in mourning.
You look like you lost almost 90 pounds. Huh?
Yeah, guess I'm doing something right.
Well, if 90 pounds is a good loss and shows me you're back on track. And since you're gonna schedule your surgery for 1 month from now. And at that time, I want for the effort he has over the past 2 months. It's not quite another 100 pounds, but it's close.
During the surgery, Julian's heart stopped and he had to be resuscitated. The stakes were high and the tension was palpable as his medical team worked tirelessly to save his life. Julian's surgery was complicated by his obesity and the risks were significant. His blood pressure dropped dangerously low and he was rushed to the ICU. The emotional weight of the situation was almost too much to bear. His family was left in shock and despair. As the days passed, Julian's condition continued to worsen. He was in a medically induced coma and placed on a ventilator to help him breathe.
The operation. But the second big issue we have with him is his hernia. Bring the robot. And if we are able to complete that, then that will give Julian is reduce the stomach by 90%. Leave him a small narrow tube. The hernia was in the way, so we had to get a lot of adhesion down and get the pad.
He was suffering from sepsis, a potentially life-threatening infection that can occur when bacteria enters the bloodstream. Despite the best efforts of his medical team, Julian's condition did not improve. He suffered from multiple organ failure and passed away a few days later. It was a heartbreaking and tragic end to a life that held so much promise and potential. Serious success. Vianney Rodriguez's weight loss journey on My 600 Pound Life was nothing short of a rollercoaster ride, with dramatic highs and lows that kept viewers on the edge of their seats. Things took a turn for the worse when Vianney underwent gastric sleeve surgery, a procedure that reduces the size of the stomach to limit the amount of food it can hold.
Over the last one, putting her at 482 pounds, which means she's under the 500. So she's still making good progress. And she has proved to me she's ready to have this out. So if there are any issues that concern us, we will have to stop the surgery early. Go a little bit higher.
During the operation, Vianney suffered a cardiac arrest, her heart stopping completely. The surgical team sprang into action, performing CPR to bring her back to life, but the damage was done, and Vianney's body went into shock, forcing doctors to place her in a medically induced coma. When Vianney finally awoke from the coma, she found herself facing a whole new set of challenges.
I don't feel pulse. Short circumference, I don't feel pulse. Get the crash chart. Get the crash chart, Laura, now.
Okay, same here.
Peter, both enjoy if you're hurting.
Okay, I need a second person on the round for chest.
Her body started to struggle from the strain, and then her condition started to decline rapidly.
Infections and internal bleeding plagued her recovery, and she was forced to undergo multiple additional surgeries to address the issue. One infection caused her surgical wound to open up, requiring yet another surgery to clean and close the incision. Internal bleeding, a serious and potentially life-threatening complication, also made an appearance, likely caused by the initial surgery.
Stop for a few seconds, okay? Yeah, but we didn't do the surgery. You're gonna be alright. You didn't get the operation because you're hot. Alright, you're gonna be okay, alright?
Despite all these complications, Vianney refused to give up. She battled through each setback with determination and grit, and the unwavering support of her healthcare team. She worked hard to lose weight, sticking to a strict diet and exercise regime, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles. That's all for this video, folks. See you another time.